We're on, Amy.
Okay, I'll be right
Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Amy will be joining us soon. She knows it gets really hot in here, though, so she is preparing herself an iced beverage. Which is probably wise. Probably wise. Before we get started, we are running an insane special for all of you. You can get 14 one-hour webinars that I produced with many of the best poker players in the world, including Olivier Bousquet, Phil Hellmuth, Matt Affleck, Alex Fitzgerald, Evan Jarvis, my poker coaches, and many, many more. And you can get 1 year of Primed Mind, which is an app that will essentially help you get in the zone every single time you play poker. I use it. Many of the best players in the world use it. And it's only $30 for all of this. You can get information for this at pokercoaching.com/primedmind. Today we're running an experiment. For those who can see me, I am wearing a dress shirt. Amy says I will have sweat through this over the next 40 minutes. We're done in 40 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes you will have sweat through it.
I have a business meeting today, so I have to act like a professional. Worst case, though, I'm going to drop off dry cleaning anyway. So, sure it'll be clean either way.
Yeah, finish that thought. So you'll go to the dry cleaner and undress in front of them, give them your clothes.
You're very
and then
confused.
Wear what to your meeting?
No, I will take these off and put on new clothes.
But why? Why put on new clothes when you can keep this outfit dry now?
It's an experiment. For science, that's why.
Science. What is our hypothesis?
I'm probably going to be a little sweaty and I'll be fine. I'll go outside and I'll dry off. All right, today, what are we talking about? Look a little bit funky with this t-shirt. Not symmetrical. I love symmetry. Today we're going to talk about money concerns.
Is symmetry a magic card?
No. Symmetry is not a magic card. Shocking, I know what it does if it's not a magic card, am I right? Although, they did change the magic card frame a while back to not be symmetrical, and I have not bought a new card since then. Who'd have thought? And a lot of the actual people with taste have stopped buying magic cards because why would you want it to be asymmetrical?
You mean the cards aren't symmetrical?
Correct. Let me show you.
Wait,
Let me show you. Stay here. Stay here.
The designs are not symmetrical.
No. Let's see if I can find one. I don't even have a card to show you. Here's a good example. Okay. Yes. Everyone, here's a magic card. Right down here on the borders, you will see that the frame has been laid on it to be slightly asymmetrical. Take a look at this curve and this curve, and then you'll see they are very different.
And they're not very different.
They are very different.
They're slightly different.
This drives me nuts to the point.
Why did they do it?
They think it looks better, apparently. And actually, to be fair, the curves are symmetrical, but the square box laid on top of it is slightly shifted to the left, I think. Yeah, slightly shifted to the left. Anyway, I hate that. And
Wait, so people are boycotting purchasing these cards, or they're boycotting playing with these cards, or I guess both?
I have not bought a box of magic cards since they've done this. I used to buy lots of boxes of magic cards. I bought individual cards. It's like you can buy the card for $2, or you can buy a whole box of cards
Since
for like
when
$100.
have they been dating the cards like this?
Those are dated. That's a pre-release card. Let me show everyone what you're talking about. You see the date on there? See the date in gold? They put that on if you get the card as a special pre-release edition, which makes it maybe a little bit more rare, maybe not. Talk about nerdy stuff. We're talking about money issues today. Amy, don't get us sidetracked on symmetry and whatnot.
Okay.
Most couples fight about money, I think. Would you say most or some? Or all? Clearly not all, because we don't.
I guess some is the answer then.
Well, I think it's a problem for a lot of people. And I would definitely say that a lot of people, even if they're individuals, they get themselves in a lot of financial trouble because they don't plan ahead. Someone posted something on Twitter this morning saying that they don't like people who are overly nitty by saying they need 150 buy-ins in their bankroll. And first off, anyone who says you only need exactly one number of buy-ins for any particular game does not understand math, because it depends entirely on your level of comfort with risk of ruin, right? Like if you don't mind going broke at all, then you don't need a very big bankroll at all. And if you really don't want to go broke, you need a humongous bankroll. That makes sense, right? Very intuitive. Also, games with more variance require a bigger bankroll. So, if you're playing a tournament with 10 people, you're going to win a decent amount of the time, right? Compared to if you're playing a tournament with 1,000 people, right? You're going to have way more consistent returns playing in smaller field events. Also makes sense, right? Yeah? Are we losing you?
I was thinking back to the question of do a lot of people fight about money?
We're well past that already. Anyway, so anyone who says you need X number of buy-ins for a particular game just doesn't understand what they're talking about. You need X number of buy-ins based on 4 things. Your tolerance with risk of ruin, the variance in your game, which is the standard deviation. Brain's already messing up. Your win rate. It's only 3 things. Win rate, return on investment. Your win rate is your return on investment. As you have a bigger win rate, you need a smaller bankroll. As your variance goes up, you need a bigger bankroll. As your risk of ruin goes, your tolerance, as you're happy you're going broke, you need a smaller bankroll. Is there one more? Man, I'm so annoyed that I can't remember this right now. Anyway, check out the Bankroll Bible at jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. Peter says, yeah, in games like PLO, you need more buy-ins because Pot Limit Omaha has way more variance because when you get all your money in, you're closer to 50-50 in Pot Limit Omaha, whereas in Hold'em, when you get your money in, you're more like 55 or 60%. So all these things are very... Oh, field size. But that also has to deal with variance. So the field size has to deal with the standard deviation.
I remember.
I just mentioned, I'm like, what am I missing? So field size is very important. But a lot of people forget about variance, and a lot of people forget about risk of ruin. And these are 2 very important concepts. So... first things first, why do you play poker? A lot of people, for them, if they play with 150 buy-in bankroll, they don't feel like they're playing. They don't get a rush. Because imagine, you have $300 to your name. Do you really want to spend your time playing $2 tournaments? A lot of people don't, right? They're like, what am I doing? I'm just wasting my time. And, that's A-okay. Understand, though, you are not playing with the goal of long-term sustainability in mind. You're playing with the goal of, I want to gamble and feel a rush in mind. Okay? It's very important to understand.
And why slot machines are so fun.
Yeah. Because think about the people at the casino who go play slot machines. They put in their $100. Win or lose, they're going to have a chance to get a lot of money. And, they're going to lose most of the time.
And the lights are flashing, and the video clips are playing, and people are walking by, cheering you on. There's the motion of pushing the button or pulling the lever. It's really fun.
We should make this very clear. If you're playing a game with a negative expectation, if you are a losing player at any game, you will go broke over time.
But if you're having fun...
It may not matter. Because think about this, right?
That may be just the cost of your entertainment.
Whenever you go to watch a movie, when you go to watch a movie at the theater, you're going to pay $10 or $15 for a ticket. You're going to buy popcorn for $84, however much they charge for that. This is going to cost you $100 out the door to go to the movie. And that money is long gone. You are paying for entertainment. So, when you go to gamble at the casino, you are paying for entertainment if you are a losing player. We discussed this last time. Winning players trade their time for the losing players' money. The losing players, on their end, get entertainment. The losing players get entertainment. So, understand that quite likely, if you're not winning at poker, you are losing money in exchange for entertainment. That is A-okay. But when you approach poker from a very professional point of view, meaning you do not have a way to replenish your bankroll because all you do is play poker, you do need a very large bankroll if you don't want to go broke. So you have to ask, what happens if you lose all of your bankroll, your poker bankroll? If you have a job and you can replenish your bankroll, it's not even a problem, right? It's like the people who go put $100 in the slot machine each week. They make $1,000, they put $100 in. It's not the end of the world, and they move on with their lives. But if you can't make more money, then, that's a big problem. And that's why you have to be willing to keep a big bankroll or be very aggressive with moving down. So, say you have 150 buy-ins, you lose down to 100. Well, what you should probably do is have the stakes that you are playing. So if you normally play $1,000 tournaments, I lost my special guest. If you normally play $1,000 tournaments, move down to $500 tournaments. Have discipline. Oh, I replaced Amie with Mr. James. Can you say hello?
Hello.
Are you my special guest?
Yes.
Does that make sense when things are going poorly, you have to move down? Does that make sense to you? Oh, that's tea. That's hot. Don't touch that. That's mommy's tea. Can you say, I love you, everyone? You like sitting? Oh, you want to sit? Okay. James is a special guest now. You know, you can be the special guest whenever you want to be. Don't hit anybody. Don't hit babies especially.
All right,
That's right.
wave bye-bye.
Are you going out? You're going to John's house? Okay, see you. Okay, so understand that if you are being very, what am I saying? I get distracted when everything's going on. If you really care about not going broke, you must move down when things are going poorly. A lot of people, though, they just keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. You should always be reassessing your bankroll as it goes up or down. Don't just think, I have 150 buy-ins at this point in time, therefore in a year, I don't care how many buy-ins I have, right? Because if you've quadrupled your bankroll, you can play bigger. If you've lost every tournament, well, you should be playing smaller, right?
Maybe this isn't relevant for you, but how do you keep track of your bankroll? Do you manage that money in a separate account, or do you just have a number in mind and you try to make sure that you just always have some amount near that on hand?
So I'm a special case because, well, I have a job. I teach all of you to play poker. Before I had a job, though, I had very clearly my money set aside in a separate account, very clearly partitioned away from living expenses, and that's what I did. This is back when I was an online player, so I had some number of buy-ins online, usually 30-ish buy-ins online, and then I would add on to that if necessary. Today, it's probably too much information. I try to keep about $100,000 in cash, not cash dollars in my house, cash in my bank that I can easily go and get out, right? And then the rest of it is put into investment accounts that ideally make some amount of passive income.
Yeah, we have nothing in our house.
We have like $500. So, well, that's what you're gonna get. So that's what I do today. But I'm a bit of a weird poker player today because I don't actually play a ton of poker anymore. So I'm not experiencing big swings. And like if I do lose a tournament series, I know I'm not going to play for another 2 weeks, which gives me plenty of time to get money out of the investment accounts. It's a little bit different if you're out there playing all day, every day. You have to keep much more on hand. So I think a lot of people get in their minds that they play a specific buy-in. And as soon as they get to that level, that's what they play, right? If you're a 2-5 player and you move up to 5-10, then people think, all right, I'm a 5-10 player now. I'm literally never going to play 2-5 again because that would hurt my ego to admit defeat. And they'll especially not play 1-2 anymore. But you must be willing to move down when things go poorly. I know whenever I was playing sit and goes a long time ago, speaking of the bankroll issue, I had a lot of cash, let's say $200K. I spent $100K on a condominium, so I'm down to $100K in cash, still plenty of money for $200 games. You needed about 150 to 300 buy-ins for these games back then, due to the low return on investment, right? And I lost down to like 50K. So I lost 250 buy-ins. That's a lot. It's a big downswing. But it will happen. So what did I do? Did I just keep playing? No. I moved down. I moved way down. I'm very, very nitty with the bankroll because I really don't want to go broke. To me, going broke is a disaster. So I went back to the tiniest games, $10 games, and then I went to, I won 100 buy-ins at those games. I decided I'm going to win 100 buy-ins at every single level to get back to where I was to essentially prove that I'm a winning player. Then I did that, and we continued moving forward with our lives. Why do you look so sad at me?
Did you get a reaction from anyone who knew you were moving down, saying, oh, you must be broke, or, oh, things aren't going... Like, is there any stigma associated with moving down other than the internal, ego issues that might be involved?
Many people will project their ego problems onto you. So imagine... I think you're never supposed to move down because I view that as quote-unquote defeat, right? I don't really care about these types of things. You should be very willing to move down because that ensures you survive long-term. Many players who are actually very good at poker have gone broke because they are unwilling to move down. And you just have to do it. So would you rather stroke your ego and feel macho, or would you rather succeed long-term, right? That really is the question, is what are you trying to accomplish, right? And if you are trying to feel like you're the winner, well, maybe you'll feel that way until you go broke and then you don't get to play anymore. Awesome question, they're saying. Good job, good work. 70% of marriages end because of financial problems.
Somebody said that?
Someone did say that. Someone who probably knows. That's interesting. So,
well,
go ahead.
I was just, I don't know the full story behind that kind of a statistic, but, I think the problem is that when you start getting anxious about money, you start getting anxious about everything. And so it becomes harder to maybe get along and be happy, and it just, raises the tension level all around. I think, one thing that we try very, very, very hard to do in our relationship, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, is even if there is a stressful situation going on, we look at each other, we hold our hands, and we realize we're teammates, we're partners, we're going to figure this out together, we're in it together, and, we love each other and we want to make everything work. So, I have to imagine that when money issues become a bigger problem, it's, maybe in part because people aren't able to see past the issue and realize they're working with a partner and a teammate to try to get through it. It's a tough thing.
Scoot into the picture, please.
Yes.
I think some people view their significant other as not their partner, but their adversary. And they view a lot of people as their adversary in life. They just think they're always supposed to be trying to get the good end of the deal or something like that. And being in a relationship is a lot about giving, right? I mean, you're not going to get everything you want, and that's A-okay. What I want is for my wife to be happy and for my kids to be happy.
And you wanted a bigger office.
And I wanted a bigger office. But I don't get what I want, right?
Have you told them where we sit?
Where we sit?
In a closet.
Yeah, we're in a closet. I could be living in Vegas in a mansion with no bills. We would be the king and queen of Vegas. Instead, we're paupers in New York City.
That's no joke. One time when we were in Vegas, I think I had already visited Vegas. I had been visiting every year since we started dating. So I'd been there 10 times. We had already seen all the shows we wanted to see, walked up and down the strip, gone shopping, everything.
We've done it all. What else can we do?
What else can we do? And so I don't know how, we decided to go to some open houses, just thinking, if we ever wanted to move to Vegas, what is the market like? And it was, I always knew it's not a surprise that the New York market is just insane. But to see how much you could get for more than half off of what we were paying in New York was just, they were gated communities, huge homes, new construction, manicured lawns, amenity. It's quite amazing.
So why live here then? Here's actually a real question for you, because I'm not even sure if you know the answer. Why put financial strain on yourself by living at your means? Because, we'll get to our finances in a minute, but why put financial strain on yourself when you could move to Vegas, get a place for half the price, like you said, pay cash for it, and then not have any bills for the rest of your life?
I value proximity to my family.
There you go. So, what is that worth? Not necessarily just your family, but also your job, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to live within walking distance of your job, and that's A-okay. So, it's important to find what you value. And Amie values her family very highly, and she definitely values her family higher than I value them because they're not my parents. But I am willing to make that sacrifice, right? Because it's not all about me. It'd be way easier for me to live in Vegas because there's poker all the time and we could have a mansion. To be fair, I don't want a mansion. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, I don't want a big house. It would overwhelm me also. I've been living in an apartment for too many years. I think it would be very hard. Well, I'm sure I could acclimate to a house, but I like apartment living. I like the fact that, I'm just responsible for my unit, and there's a super and handyman and doorman.
A super is a superintendent who takes care of everything for you. Yeah. Amie, move your parents to Vegas as well, obviously, because then think about this. We could buy a house that's half the price of this one. We could buy them the house right next door.
Yeah.
And we have two houses.
They're not moving.
They
are in their dream apartment in their dream neighborhood. They waited many, many, many years to be able to move to that area.
They could sell their place in Brooklyn Heights and buy the whole subdivision in Vegas. They have a 4-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn Heights, right on the promenade. What more do they want?
They bought it many, many, many years ago. But they worked very hard to get there, and they're exactly where they want to be, and they earned it. And I would never make them not that I could make them, but I don't even think I would ever ask them to.
Well, there's an easy way to make them. You take Mr. James and take him to Vegas.
I don't know. That would be hard.
You take him. Okay, so what do we do with our money that allows us to not really fight so much about it? Well, first things first, we make enough money to where we're not actually spending more than we make, right? But to be fair, we are like near the limit to where we pocket a decent amount each month, but we're under no real financial strain. So first things first, get out of financial strain. I mean, this happens to poker players all the time, where they have a job where they're making, let's say, $20 an hour. Then they figure out they can make $30 or $40 an hour from poker with variance. And then inevitably they start spending like they're making $40 an hour. They get a nicer place, they get a nicer car, they start spending more money. And then they have 2 or 3 months where they only win $20 an hour. And then they spend like their whole bankroll because they think they're supposed to be making $40 an hour. So if you are a poker player, professional poker player, always assume you're going to make way less than you think you're going to make. This was perhaps my biggest key to success. I was spending like I was making $20 an hour when I was making $400 an hour as a kid. And you're just going to pocket tons of money and grow your bankroll very quickly. So you have to keep expenses low, especially when you're grinding it up. And that's the nice thing about whenever you're getting into poker as a young person, because you just don't need expenses, right? You don't have to have expenses. Mark says, your lifestyle has a way of growing to fit your income. It absolutely does, and you have to make sure that does not happen. So, we are not going into debt each month,
That
right?
is a huge thing that you can lose sight of very, very quickly. I mean, a very simple, simplistic example is that when we first started dating, John, through a friend, was getting these Starbucks.
Alan Kessler used to go to casinos and gamble, and in exchange for him gambling, they would give him gift cards to wherever he wanted. So he had Bass Pro Shop gift cards, he had Target gift cards, he had Starbucks gift cards. And he would sell the Starbucks gift cards at, I don't know, 25% off or something like that. So for $1,000 you get for $750 you get $1,000 worth of Starbucks gift cards. I knew Amie enjoyed going to Starbucks, so I would just bring her Starbucks gift cards every time.
So I was getting Starbucks every single morning, but I wasn't coming out of my pocket. And I think I went a year without having to pay myself for coffee, and it was amazing. And then the cards stopped.
Because Alan stopped getting them. Right?
And, when I started paying for it myself, I realized what a huge expense it was, and that continuing on that path was just more than was really necessary. I mean, and, I cut back on it. I started having coffee from the coffee maker at work. We started making coffee at home, and just little things like that. You don't even realize how used to little amenities and benefits you are until you try to pull back on it and take stock of how much you're spending.
That said, I think you should spend money on amenities because you work. Again, this is once you have enough money to maintain your day-to-day life. In my mind, you should be outsourcing everything you don't want to do. For example, I never am going to cut a lawn again in my life. I'm not going to do it ever again. So that's it, right? I don't like cutting the grass at all. I hate it. I cut the grass all the time as a kid. It was never fun. It was not enjoyable to me. So I'm never going to cut the grass again. What else do I not particularly like doing? Well, I don't particularly like cooking dinner every night. So we order nice delivery food literally every night. And it costs $15 a person, right? And we understand, at least I understand, maybe you understand, that it is worth $45 a night for me to not have to cook dinner and not worry about it ever. And these are things you can afford once you do start making a little bit of money. And it's almost like you have your own private chef and at a fraction of the cost. And that is quite valuable to me because I know that I want to outsource these things. Same thing like going to get groceries, right? Walking to the grocery store and back and buying the groceries takes an hour. So what is an hour of my time worth? Well, I have to pay the grocery delivery people $15, let's say. Can I make more than $15 in an hour while they're making the grocery or going to get the groceries? And definitely I can. So once your time becomes valuable, you can and should start outsourcing it. Like imagine coffee takes you 10 minutes to make. But you can go buy it for $5, is 10 minutes of your time worth $5? Right? Maybe it is.
But you make it.
Make what?
At home.
It's way more convenient for me to make the coffee at home than to go to the store and get it. But if it's
Right.
on your way to your job, and you can order on your app now, you literally walk in and get it and leave.
Which is what I do.
It may be actually a value. I mean, think about Uber, right? Whenever you take an Uber somewhere, you are not actually paying for them to take you from point A to point B. You're actually paying them to drive the car for you, right? I'm probably never going to own a car again. And if I do, I'm going to be very unhappy about it. Because I realize that while I'm sitting in a car paying someone $58 or $100 an hour to drive me somewhere, I can be learning something by listening to a podcast that I'm actually paying attention to, or I can be napping, or I can be doing work on my phone that makes more than that amount, right? So you're trading.
And we live in an area where it's very easy to get cars. There are like a bunch of rental places just right around the corner from us. So if we ever needed something in an emergency, we could get it.
If I lived in Vegas, I would not have a car.
Oh, really?
I would not. Almost certainly I would not.
I would
Unless I
probably-
lived a long way away.
I feel like with kids, you wouldn't have a car. You have to get them to school. You have to take them to the playground.
Maybe that's just like something you have to do at some point, but definitely as a single person or with just a significant other, I would not have a car. How about that?
That's not your life now.
You're right. You have to know what you signed up for. So, anyway, I think a lot of people get caught up in the idea of I need to save money on little things because they do add up. But is coffee every day for a year worth $1,000 for you?
I don't use it.
Okay, so fine, right? It's not worth it. There are a few things in your life that are very important purchases that you can save a lot of money on, like a house, for example, right? If you're going to buy a $100,000 house, but you can get it for 10% off, well, you save $10,000 on a little negotiation. That's huge, right? What about if you're buying a car? Same thing. If you time buying your car right around tax season, or there are a few other times where car manufacturers need to move their cars based on government regulations and whatnot, you can often save a lot of money or get it very close to cost. If you're negotiating a new job, if you can get a 10% higher salary, I mean, think about how that's going to add up. It's not only 10% this year, but when you get a raise next time, it's going to be on top of the raise you're getting, so it compounds. So there are lots of little things like that, well, I say they're little things. They're humongous money-making or money-losing decisions that you can make, and you really don't have that many chances to make them because how often you get a new car or a new house or a new job, right? It doesn't happen all that much. Hire a full-time driver with your own cars. Yeah, we should buy a fleet of cars and have drivers and then just use our own stash.
That's called having a taxi commission.
Or an Uber. I actually was reading about how in South America, there are people who buy fleets of cars for like $10,000 a car. They're very cheap down there. And then they rent them to own to drivers. Like rent to own to drivers. So a driver ends up paying something like 15 or 20K for the car over 3 years. So you 50% your investment a lot of the time. If they don't buy it, you get the car back and it'll be worth $5,000 then or something. Mm-hmm. Then you can sell it. And they pay you to drive the car. So you get like 20% of whatever they make from driving. Think of the value, huh? We have to get into that.
It's called being a bank.
Yeah, you should be the bank. Let's see. You think not to make expenses low in case... I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there, but I definitely do think you need to figure out which expenses you care about and which expenses you value. You may find that some of the stuff you're spending your money on you don't actually value. For example, cable TV, right? If you work a lot, if you're busy grinding and studying poker, if you watch 1 hour of TV a day, could you use your computer to do the same thing? Could you just watch it on CBS.com, right? And maybe you could. So I imagine a lot of you out there who don't actually watch much TV can probably not pay a cable bill, which is, I don't know, how much is cable? $100 a month or something? That's $1,000 a year, right?
We learned that by accident, right? We wanted 2 cable boxes in our apartment when we moved in, one for the living room, one for our bedroom.
Because that's just what you do, right?
The cable company messed up, only sent us 1 box, so we put it in the living room. And we realized over time we didn't miss the cable box in the bedroom because we very rarely actually watch TV in the bedroom, and we had a spare Roku.
You can watch Netflix.
That we put in there anyway in the meantime while we were waiting for the cable box to come, and we realized we just didn't even need it. So inadvertently we realized we were going to be spending money on something that we actually didn't need, want, or miss having in our lives. And so we just never got them to bring over the second cable box. So it's stuff like that you might not even think about. And you all of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, I was spending money on this totally needlessly.
A lot of people also spend money on clothes needlessly. There are a lot of poker players out there who spend, I don't know, like $10,000 a month on clothes.
What?
For real. I know a few people off the top of my head that buy $1,000 shoes every month. They buy $500 shirts all the time.
What?
Because think about this, in their mind, they're making $30K a month. Why shouldn't they be able to spend on things they enjoy? And to be fair, if you enjoy it, there's nothing wrong with spending your money on things you enjoy. But you may find that you can spend only $5,000 on clothes each month. Or $1,000, or almost none.
We were just talking about how we wear our clothes to the nub.
Yeah.
There has to be, we periodically go through our closets to donate stuff to Goodwill. And, I still have stuff. I literally still have a sweatshirt from junior high that I will never get. I won't get rid of it until it has, holes and it's crumbling and, turns to dust in my hands. It's just not happening.
My wife is a vagabond.
No, it's in great shape. It's from Aeropostale, which used to be very cool when I was a kid.
I don't know what words you're saying.
What?
This was back in the 70s?
No, back in the 90s.
I see. What I'm describing about the cars is almost like real estate, except for houses appreciate, cars depreciate. That's true, but the cars give you 50% ROI in 3 years and then you're done with it, right? Whereas real estate does not give you 50% ROI in 3 years, and you're not done with it. So it's a much more long-term investment, which is, they're different, right? And I would generally say be very careful with the idea of this appreciates, therefore it's better, and this depreciates, therefore it's worse. It depends on also the utilization of it, right? For example, if you rent a house out for $1,000 a year, you get $12,000. But what if the guy's driving your car for you and it costs way less? You already know you're going to get $5K profit in 3 years only. So there you go. 5 is obviously more than 3. And also, you're going to make, let's say, $2,000 a year off of it from the percentage of the guy driving. So be careful with blanket statements. Blanket statements will get you in a lot of trouble because quite often they are right? You'd rather have something that appreciates than depreciates. But that's not necessarily true because the amount of time you have to be involved, et cetera, is all relevant. What type of shirt costs $5,000? Kind of like this. $500, sorry. Kind of like this, but with different branding.
Different tag.
Different tag, right.
To be fair, I believe in investing in quality pieces that are pieces you're going to wear for a long time. So, we don't buy cheaply made, poor quality clothing just because it's less expensive. If it's expensive but worth it because you're going to get a lot of use out of it and it's a staple that you need in your closet, we do it. We're happy to put money towards quality, but I think it's more the quantity issue that neither of us seem to have a problem with. We have what we need. We don't need more. We don't go crazy at department store. Neither of us particularly enjoy shopping.
No.
Either, James probably has the nicest wardrobe out of either of us. But even his wardrobe is...
It's all from the Gap.
It's all from the Gap, and it's all on sale.
Each shirt costs $10, and he has 10 shirts. So his whole wardrobe costs, I don't know, $400 out the door.
And Thomas will be the beneficiary of all of it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Let's see. This is awesome mindset advice. Speaking of mindset advice, we're running a special right now with Primed Mind, which is actually fantastic mindset advice. You can go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind for only $30. Almost free. You get a year of Primed Mind, which is an app that you use to get yourself in the zone before, during, and after while you're playing. It helps you relax after playing. And also you get 14 webinars that I presented with the authors of Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. It's a heck of a deal. Check it out. It's about as free as can be. I want to help you all better your lives and better your poker, and the easiest way to do that is to give you this content at a very, very low price. You can get it at pokercoaching.com/primedmind. During my poker downswings, how do you support me?
Financially?
I don't know what the question is. She doesn't. So we didn't really talk about this, but let's talk about this. What do we do with our money? Amie pays the mortgage and maintenance for the apartment, and that takes most of her income. I pay everything else. which ends up being kids' college savings accounts, vacations if we ever get to take one again, food, right? The credit card bills, et cetera, which ends up being, I don't know, $5K a month or something like that. And it works out nicely.
Well, I do my own credit card bill.
She does her own credit card. She doesn't spend a whole lot on her credit card. So anyway, that's how we separate it. She takes care of the staple standard bills, right? And I take care of everything else. And that often results in me having a lot of excess money left over, and I will invest that in various things, from very obvious investments like ETFs and retirement accounts to more aggressive investments like startup investing and whatnot. So that's what I typically do. That's how we do it. And
for better or worse, I think the way we structured it is that I wanted to take care of all of the major expenses that I had to know would be taken care of every month without me freaking out about it. So, mortgage and the apartment maintenance bills are things that I don't want to have to worry about. Did John pay them? Did his credit card expire and he forgot to, update the information?
That kind of stuff happens.
I'm in control of those. I know they get paid. I get my email alerts. They come out of my bank account, and that's it. They're done. All the other stuff is stuff that if it all went to pot, who cares? Like if
our kids don't have to go to college.
No, if the cable bill didn't get paid, if
you pay the cable. Oh no, do I pay the cable?
I do not pay cable.
Everything I pay is auto pay. So right. I guess that's phones,
cable and phone. If any of that just didn't get paid and got turned off, it would be fine. But if we missed a mortgage payment or a maintenance payment, that would be a lot worse in my mind. So I think that's how we generally try to split the expenses, and then that way I don't have to worry about what John's doing with his money. I just trust he's managing his money as he needs to because he's a smart person, and I married him because I trust him, and but that way he can just go and do his own thing, and I don't have to freak out every month.
Clint says I'm a typical man with the bills. Yeah.
I think that's incorrect.
I'm very lackadaisical.
Oh, that's what he meant?
That's what he's joking, yes.
Okay.
But so I want to clear up a few things. Someone's saying you don't have to spend $500 on a shirt to get a good one. I think that's what he thinks you're saying.
Oh, no.
This shirt costs like, I don't know, $80 or something.
No.
This thing costs what?
You don't have to spend money
$50.
for quality, but sometimes you'll find that something that's quality ends up costing more money. But it's worth it sometimes to spend more money for quality because otherwise if you're getting something that's not good quality, you find you might need to replace it more over time, and then what's the point? So invest in a good piece. Also, frankly, sometimes you just feel better wearing something that's a little bit nicer. So if you have a job or where you have an important meeting or a presentation you're giving, you really want to put your best foot forward. So all I was saying is in both of our closets, we have some more expensive pieces that we feel good about because we're going to get a lot of use out of them over time. And they're, meant to really round out the wardrobe.
The only thing I have that costs more than $100 is a suit, okay? So don't act like we have all sorts of fancy stuff.
No, we don't.
We just want to make it clear that neither of us are saying to spend $500 on your shirts. We're saying that some people do. Okay, next, why would you put all these bills on your credit card?
What bills?
Well, I said that like our Amex payments, right? I want to make it clear, we pay off our credit cards each month. We do not carry debt forward. That is
not
often
credit
an
card,
efficient thing to do.
Sorry, if I said credit card.
No, it is on my credit card.
Oh, I pay my bills straight from my bank account, not on a credit card.
No, you have your Amex bill.
No,
that
but
is a credit card.
I don't pay my bills with my Amex.
I pay my bills with my Amex.
I can't.
Or not my Amex, but something else.
Like your mortgage and stuff, I don't think you can put that.
Slow down.
Put that on my credit
You're
card.
missing the point. You definitely can, but you're missing the point.
Okay.
What I'm saying is if you pay with a credit card, you get cash back or bonuses or something. So if you get 1.5% back and you spend, I don't know, $100,000 each year, you get $1,500 for free. Assuming you're disciplined enough and you always pay your bill. And we do. My credit card bills are all auto-paid. And that means you just get a free 1.5%. Now, that means you have to keep money in your bank account. Some people have problems with that, right? So be careful with auto pay to some extent, but that's what I do. And would you rather I actually used to put everything on my debit card, but then I realized there's value in the credit card and just the free 1.5%, which is quite valuable. So speaking of that, do we do travel hacking, credit card, travel rewards, et cetera, et cetera? I don't think it's worth my time, honestly. There are definitely a lot of people who do that, and they enjoy that. It's like clipping coupons to some extent. Some people enjoy it, and they think it's worth their time, and they have fun with it. I don't have fun with it. I hate that kind of thing. So we do use our rewards, but we definitely do not use our rewards optimally. For example, with the Amex bill, you can use your rewards to pay for stuff on Amazon, but you do not get the best rate. You get a better rate by using it to book specific flights or specific hotel rooms, etc., etc. But if I don't want to spend even an hour figuring that stuff out.
Yeah, we use it on Amazon.
I would rather just collect my 80% point value or 60% point value, whatever it is, and never have to think about it. So
I get so excited when I go to order something on Amazon and I see that it's allowing me an option to use my rewards points to pay for it.
What is that worth to make your wife excited?
It's very exciting. I'm like, oh, it's free.
It's free this time, and it is. So we try to put as many things as we can on the bills. Amy's a little off center. I know that. Listen, we don't have widescreen here. We could get widescreen, but then we don't get to see all of your beautiful comments.
It's centered based on level of importance. And so this guy will get about 65% of your screen, and I'll take the rest. Oh, no.
Is this right now?
Where'd you go?
Is this right? Do you have anything else to say about money? Do you think it's practical for people to have their money separate, like we have our money separate? Is that practical? If we both have jobs, and we're married, you're not planning on getting rid of me, right?
Right.
Is that practical for most people?
I honestly I can't even imagine having a combined account. It just wasn't even something that ever went through my mind. I think that's also partly because we're funding our own accounts with our own money. I think if there's a huge disparity between how much money people make, like let's say I didn't work, right? Or I had a job that really didn't pay enough to cover any of the expenses I was generating, I would constantly need access to whatever money you were bringing in, which means we would either need a joint account or I would need some way of getting transfers easily from your account.
Like each money, say I made 5 times as much as you, I could just put some amount of money in your account each month directly, like a direct deposit or something.
Like
an allowance. I would give you an allowance.
But I think we benefit from the fact that we each, are able to cover our own expenses and our own needs, and so I'm never turning to you for money, and you're never turning to me for money.
I don't know if we.
And
so someone asked earlier, how do you support me during downswings? I don't think I've ever asked you for money to play poker, have I?
No.
Maybe like one time I said that a transfer was slow getting to me, like can I have $5K or something, but
I don't even think that's
I don't even think that. I think the money eventually came through.
I think there have been times.
No, essentially no.
I think the answer is no. I think there may have been times where I asked you. I don't.
It's not fun for people to sit here looking at you think.
Yeah,
the answer is no.
I think the answer is no.
And if it is yes, it's like essentially no. And
sorry for taking too long. I just wanted to be honest with the answer, but I think the answer is just no.
The answer is definitely no.
There have been times where I'll turn to him and say, "Hey, this bill is coming in. Can you cover it?"
Like for example, James is going to what's it called?
School.
He's going to school soon.
What's it called?
Really school if he's 2.5 years old.
Preschool.
Yes, it is because they wear uniforms and you have to pay a lot of money for them to go. So, Amy's like, can you pay this? And I say yes, right? So that's not her asking me for money. That is an expense that is not the mortgage. Therefore, I pay it. And I realize that's the deal, right? So that's typically how we do it. You never use credit for something you can't buy with cash. You also pay 100% of your credit card bill. Yes, that's what you're supposed to do. You do not want to have debt unless the debt is very cheap to the point that you can make more money with the cash. Like for example, sometimes mortgages are very, very cheap. Sometimes college student loans are very, very cheap. So if they charge you like 1.5% interest a year, do you think you can make more than 1.5% interest on your money? You can. If you just put it in some safe investment, you'll make like 2.5% or 3%.
This is why I still have student loans outstanding.
Because you can do more with that money than you could otherwise. And that's a purposeful decision to have that. Like we could just take the money out of my account and pay it off immediately, but I think we're going to make more money than that.
And I often ask John whenever he wins a big tournament, I go, so then can we please pay off my student loans? And the answer is, why would we? I mean, they're just at such a low rate, and that money is better served elsewhere.
I mean, so if you do have a lot of debt outstanding, take a look at it and see which one has the high interest rates, and then pay off that first. And it turns out we have a mortgage, which has, I presume, a higher interest rate than our student loans.
Yes.
So we should be putting money towards that. That said, I think I can make more money than whatever our mortgage interest rate is just by investing in other things. So if, say, you have to pay 4% for one loan, but you know you're going to make 7% or 10% or something off using that money for something else, you're making the difference, right? You're making 6% on that money. So quite often it does not make sense to pay off things like that. Kevin says we all have that student loan burden. I mean, to be fair, like I said, we just pay off your loan immediately if we needed to. So we don't really view it as a burden. I don't know. Do you view any money issues as a burden?
I think it's something that I think about. I mean, it certainly would be ideal to not have any debt, to not have a mortgage, to not have any student loans outstanding, and to not even have to think about that anymore, which is why I'm eager to just get that paid off, so that it's something we don't even have to review in our minds, even if it's just annually at tax return time. Or even life decisions we make, well, we have a mortgage, or how are we going to pay for X, or where are we going to start funneling our money towards Y. Hi, you wanted to say hi again?
Hi, sweet face. What do you have there?
What do you have? Tell everyone what you have. You have a race car, that's right. That's right.
Also, I think part of what you have to make sure you have in your mind is that you don't want things that are very unnecessary. For example, some people want a fancy car, right? It would be completely impractical for me to have a fancy car living in New York City. And I don't want one, right? Some people want to have a boat. Some people want to have a big house. Some people want to have a lot of nice clothes. And very rarely do we look at each other and say, I want this expensive thing that is completely unnecessary. Excuse me. I'm talking about something very important right now.
Hey, I'm a speedy race car. Okay, ready?
Oh no!
Can you say bye-bye?
Bye again. I say bye again.
Bye. Say bye-bye to everyone again.
Again.
Okay, see you.
You again.
You'll come later, okay?
No. Don't do that. All right, go. Take it.
Bye.
Cost of tuition is between $2,000 and $4,000 per year. Not for pre-K in Manhattan. Do you have anything else you want to talk about pertaining to money?
No. They want to know if we got a prenup.
Did we get a prenup?
The answer is yes and no. We did, but it took us so long to get it done, it became a post-nup.
We have a post-nup.
Which
essentially says the money you came in with, you keep when we leave each other. And the money I came in, we keep when we leave each other. We had to list our assets. And that's essentially it, right? Easy peasy. Prenups and postnups make people uneasy. Why do you think that is?
I think because it already starts to beg the question of what do we owe each other if things go wrong. And so, if someone is expecting, not even expecting, but if the topic comes up of like alimony, and you might have an idea in your head of, no, if we break up, that's it, we leave and go our separate ways, and I'm thinking, what, you're not going to take care of me? Then even though it's not an issue today, all of a sudden it starts to raise these concerns about what our expectations are going forward. So I think that's why it makes people uneasy. It brings up a lot of questions that I think people don't want to think about and don't want to worry about, but unfortunately, with respect to which the people involved might have very different answers when the questions are actually asked, which is why it's good to hash that out now. So in our case, we really wanted to just be able to leave, if anything happened, to leave very cleanly. But also the thing you need to realize about a prenup or a postnup, you don't have to follow it, right? So it's there to protect the people involved in case everything goes wrong and you're unable to really negotiate reasonably, and so you have this contract in place that just says, fine, this is what you have to default to. But if something happened to us and it was amicable and we decided, you know what, maybe Amie needs an alimony, maybe John needs an alimony, maybe the kids need some additional money set aside, then that's always something we can negotiate around. The contract doesn't require us to stick to it in all instances. But it makes people uneasy. But, same thing, trust and estate planning, getting your wills in order.
That was a lot of fun.
Figuring out where your money's going to go, figure out who's going to take care of the kids, figure out, all of that. Those are things that are really hard to think about also. But you can't fix that after you've passed away. And so you need to ask yourself the hard questions now in order to protect your family and your children. So that was another exercise we went through once we realized we were pregnant with James, that we need to start getting things prepared in case anything unfortunately happens to us.
And now we're basically prepared.
I think so.
Good. Amie, what does your wife do for a living?
I don't have
I'm a professional poker player.
I don't have a wife.
Oh, I'm not the wife. I'm sorry, I got confused. Let's
Why?
see.
That question?
No, they didn't ask you. They asked me. What do you do for a living?
I'm a lawyer.
What
But someone else already answered that.
Oh, Amie is a lawyer. What kind of law do you practice?
I'm a tax lawyer and currently working a lot in the energy space and with utility companies.
How much do we make combined? I don't actually know. Because my income varies significantly. How much do we spend?
Less than we make.
Less than we make. And again, spending is all over the place because when I'm traveling for poker, that's an expense, but that's a business expense, right? So I have multiple credit cards that keep track of different things. I have different segments of my business, like my online poker training business, that have a specific credit card. We have a credit card for additional business expenses, like flying to play a poker tournament. Then I have another credit card for day-to-day expenses, like buying stuff, buying a cup of coffee or whatever. So I have 3 different credit cards.
I have one.
Maybe I have more, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2. One of which I don't use hardly ever. I got a Bloomingdale's credit card because we moved to a neighborhood by a Bloomingdale's, and I figured that's where I was going to do all my shopping because it was convenient, and so I might as well get rewards. But as it turns out, I don't really shop that much.
Right.
So
Ryan says, how much is my play is GTO versus exploitative? Have you not signed up to pokercoaching.com? Go there, get your completely free trial to pokercoaching.com. What it amounts to is you need to know how to play fundamentally sound and how to adjust that to take advantage of your opponent's strategies. Do we have a black card? No, we have some other
No,
card.
I have the Amex blue card that I think a lot of people already comment on that they have. It looks see-through around the edge and it has a little square inside of it.
I have this one. I don't know what this one is.
Are you kidding? Oh,
I have
you
this
covered
one.
it.
This one's good for traveling. It gets you in a lot of travel.
I have the Amex blue card. No fee to sign up, and it gets on minimal cashback rewards and some other offers, but I never use the offers because, like John said, I don't want to figure them out, so I just use the cashback whenever I can. Someone asked how we take care of health insurance because it's a big expense. Comes out of my paycheck every month. My work provides health insurance, so I pay the premiums. And I do work. Someone's asking if I work in a law firm. I do work at a law firm.
That's a lot. Let's see. A prenup is divorce insurance. Normally I'm not... I view a lot of these things as just planning ahead for a worst case scenario. If you can understand what happens in the worst case scenario, if you can mitigate the downside of the worst case scenario, if you can... Like, for example, neither of us today want to have a long legal battle if we happen to break up down the road, right?
Oh my god, that would be terrible.
Right. So, make a prenup that says you can't do it. So, that's... It's all important. You say it's plus ROI for lawyers. I mean, to be fair, yes, it is something that lawyers do take care of, but it's very important that you realize that you are paying some amount now so that you don't have to deal with these things down the road. Like a will, right? You really want your family fighting over your money when you die? And the answer is probably not, right? So you pay $5,000, you get a goodwill, and then you know you can forget about it. And that may or may not make sense depending on how many assets you have, right? If you had to spend $5,000 to protect $10 million, think of the value.
But that's not how much we're protecting.
We're going to have well more than that by the time we're done. Don't worry. Jur, you say I didn't answer a question in your Fedor Holtz in the Fedor Holtz interview. Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/USA. That discusses my recommendations for American online poker players. Who does my bookkeeping? QuickBooks. I have an accountant. Her name is Teresa Fox. She takes care of everything for me. Kim says just signed up for pokercoaching.com. Great.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy it. Being a U.S. citizen, what percentage of overall profits from poker would you say is given to the IRS? I mean, from me personally, or from all American poker players?
Well, it's just whatever your tax rate is. So however much you make minus, deductible expenses, and then your tax on the remainder based on the bracket you fall into.
There you go. How is life as a lawyer compared to what is portrayed in the TV show Suits?
Very different. Annoyingly different.
What's my retirement plan? I don't have a retirement plan. I'm going to keep doing what I do until I die, probably.
Travel. I want to travel.
You can already do that.
But I don't.
One thing I do want to mention before we run out of time is you need to figure out what you want in life. If you want to travel, Amie, make that a priority. Because really, if you make enough money to pay your bills and have some left over, then you should be doing what you want to do. If you want to travel, we should make it a priority to travel.
Yeah.
Because we can. And we may not be. So if you're not making your priorities a priority, that's on you, and you need to make sure that you fix that, because you need to be happy in life. Like going to Starbucks and buying a Starbucks. If you want to spend $6 on your Starbucks each day because it makes you happy as can be, do it. If you want to go travel, get up and go travel. I'm happy to go with you. Or stay home if you don't want to hang out with me. Whatever you want. Glad we had this talk. We learned my wife wants to travel.
To be fair, we did a lot of traveling before we started having kids, so I feel like we kind of got that bug out of our system.
What's your opinion on crypto? Understand that my opinion is irrelevant because I'm not a crypto expert. Anyone in the poker space who says they are a crypto expert is lying to you, almost certainly, because there are very few experts in that space because it's incredibly new. It is the blind leading the blind at the moment, and you want to be blind or not. Someone in the poker space told everyone to put half of their money into cryptocurrencies, and then the next month they all crashed and went close to zero. And he hosed his fans. Why? Because he probably doesn't actually care. Happy to hose him, because why not? If it goes up, he's a hero. If it goes down, it's a free roll for him. Not for all of his followers, though. Understand that most people out there do not have your best interest in mind. They want to get famous, and the easy way to do that is to make predictions and have the predictions go right. And when they don't go right, well, that's what a lot of people do. And for example, I'm never going to tell you to invest all of your money into anything because I know I'm not an expert in anything besides specifically poker. And I'm not telling you to invest all of your money in poker, right? You have to be smart.
He tells most people to not invest their money in poker.
I do, actually. I would say probably a third of people who come to me for private coaching, very quickly it becomes clear they don't need to be spending their lives on this, and that helps them a lot, right? They need to hear that from someone. All right, we have to go. We have 1.5 minutes left. We just did a webinar with Fedor Holtz discussing a lot of mindset issues. I learned a ton. You can find that at pokercoaching.com/primedmind. And thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You have to go back to work at some point soon. So we've had, I think, a week and a half of Amie.
I know. I go back in 2 weeks. My maternity leave is ending.
How's that make you feel?
I really enjoyed being home. I really enjoyed spending more time with James, being able to spend time with Thomas. It's going to be very different going back to work. But it's one of those things that I'm sure, within a couple days it'll feel back to normal again. A new normal. But thank you for having me at home too. I know it's been different having me around the last few months.
It has been. I've gotten about 1/3 as much work done as I normally would. Amie thinks I've been working a ton. She doesn't even know. I work hard for all of you, and I hope you appreciate the work. Have fun.
Someone's
Good luck.
asking what my Instagram is. It's just my name. It's Amie Broder.
And it's private.
Oh, and it's private. That's right.
We have to go in 18 seconds. Good luck. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Be nice. We will be back on Friday to discuss something else. Maybe with Amie, maybe not. Be nice. Have
Do
fun.
something nice for someone.
Do something nice for someone. Bye-bye.